Hi friends! Today I would like to introduce you my new embroidery design with Brazilian roses. Here is an example of such roses that I'm going to use in this hoop, and I would like to invite you to join this stitch along and stitch it together. I just uploaded this embroidery design to my stitching club on Patreon and Substack, so if you want to download this pattern with instructions and the full list of materials with the links and all the useful information, you can check the link in the video description below to learn more how you can get this pattern. In this video I will go through all the materials you will need to prepare for this project. First of all, you will need a fabric, and this is a Kona cotton solid fabric that I got online. This is a white color. You can also get Kona cotton solids as a kit of different colors, like a set of colors like I have here. This is actually the same fabric that quilters use for their quilts, and this is also a perfect fabric for us for hand embroidery. If you want more colors, you can get this kind of set of fabric, and this is 10 square cotton solids from Kona cotton. I already use it for my projects, as you can see, and you can also try some linen fabric. Linen is also great for hand embroidery. This is the linen that I bought in Ukraine, and this is also natural color linen, and this is dark blue and gray colors. For this kind of embroidery it will be really pleasant to stitch on linen because the fabric has bigger holes, and your needle will easily go through your fabric. The only one disadvantage of this fabric is that it's hard to see through when you are tracing the embroidery design onto this fabric. But I can suggest other ways how to transfer the pattern to the fabric, and I will explain it all later in this video. And the next you will need embroidery hoop. I use a small embroidery hoop for this little embroidery design, and it's gonna be really comfortable to turn it around, and depending on which direction you are going to need to make your stitches. And this is a 5-inch embroidery hoop. For the inner part of this hoop I did some I wrapped it in fabric, and this is how it looks. It helps to keep the fabric really tight, and I really love it. So I highly recommend to do this way. And you can frame your embroidery in another hoop later, and you can use this hoop. It's gonna be your working hoop when you are working on your embroidery. And you can also frame your embroidery in another kind of hoop like this. This is a plastic hoop, but it's like a decorative. It's for framing only. It wasn't really comfortable to stitch in this hoop actually, but if you want to make your embroidery cute and you want to frame it in something interesting and beautiful, I recommend to do it in this hoop. But for stitching, I recommend to bind in the inside part of the hoop like this, and have just a separate hoop for stitching. And the next thing that you will need for your embroidery is embroidery threads. I usually use different kind of brands, and this is most of the brands that I use all the time. Of course, it's DMC. DMC is available in every country in the world, probably, so you can easily find it. It's 6-stranded embroidery threads, and I will probably use only 3 strands in my work for this project, and I recommend playing with different kind of embroidery threads, not only plain colors. I recommend to look for something like variated threads, multicolored threads, and because flowers and leaves, they turn out really beautifully if you work with some threads like this. And this is Cosmo Seasons embroidery threads. They are also really great quality, and when you will be looking for some variated threads, look for the skeins where you will have the same colors from the same color family. And I recommend to take the thread out of the skein and take a look if the color goes, how the color goes quickly or faster. This is a slow transition from one shade to another, and this is the best thread that I would really recommend you for those flowers. You can see that there is a pretty big amount of thread that is darkest color, and then it goes to the light, and it's a pretty long thread with a light shade, and it goes again to the darker color. So it's gonna be really easy and comfortable to work with such color transitions for the roses like that. So I'm gonna definitely try this skein. And for the leaves, I took this skein of floss, this color. I'm just checking how long the thread is with one color and another one, and you can see that the color transition is pretty slow, and I just can imagine how beautiful the leaves can become when I will be using those threads. So I can't wait to try them. And this is the number. I will be also showing the number of the thread which I am using during the live streams. And if you like just plain colors, you can use 3 different colors from the one color family. For example, you can start with a darker shade in the center of the flower, then you can switch to the medium shade, and then you can switch to the lightest shade, and you will finish the flower, the last and the biggest petals, they are going to be lighter. Or you can go backwards, start with the light, and the lightest shade is going to be in the center, and then you will switch to the medium color, and then you will switch to the darker color. So choose whatever you like, try both ways, and if you like it, you just leave it. If you don't like it, just cut it out and start over and do it another way. So those threads are the Polish embroidery threads that I could find in Warsaw when I was there a few years ago, and this is Ariadna brand. This is also a pretty nice brand of embroidery threads, and depending on the country where you are located right now, if you cannot find any DMC on Cosmo Seasons or Encore embroidery threads, you can find some threads that are made in your country probably. Just go to the local shop and explore and check what they have. Before embroidering, I recommend to test any new embroidery threads, especially if they are cheap. Maybe the color can bleed, so try to stitch a little bit on the white fabric, make it wet, and leave it for a while and see if the color bleeds on the fabric. So definitely test it before you can use. And this is an example of Encore embroidery threads that I found here in Canada. It's also 6-stranded embroidery floss, the same that I usually could find in the skein, just in the another format of the spools. and I was really surprised. Right now I cannot find those threads. I bought it in Michael's, but those are just the same embroidery threads with the same quality that you can find in DMC and any other embroidery threads. So you can try those. It's not necessary to follow my exact color palette. You can use the threads from your stash, just use the colors that you like, but I will be definitely sharing the color codes in my videos, and I will make a like color map and illustration, and I will mark all the colors on the color map, and I will share it on my stitching club. So that's it for the threads. The next thing that you will need, and I will tell you more about it, these are embroidery needles. So these are embroidery needles that I usually use for hand embroidery, just the standard embroidery needles from DMC, number 3 to 9. But for this kind of embroidery, as you can see, you will be doing a lot of weaving and wrapping on the needle, so you will need a longer needle, and I suggest you to find milliner needles from John James. This is like they are slightly different from embroidery needles because they are longer, and the eye is smaller, so it's gonna be easier to go through all those wraps that you will do. And if you want even longer needles, you can try long darners, and as you can see, they are even longer than milliners, and comparing to the regular embroidery threads, they are really longer. And I like both. I tried both needles for this kind of embroidery style, and I really love it. So you can get those or those. Those are also enough, long enough for those kind of stitches that I will be doing for this project. I will leave all the links in the video description for the needles and the other materials that you will need. And the next thing that I would like to talk about is scissors. You will need small scissors with a sharp point, so you will be able to cut your thread close to the fabric. And if you don't like the flower that you did especially if you do it for the first time, you will want to like cut it out and start over. So I usually use those scissors, so I carefully go through the between the fabric and the threads, and then cut it carefully. But if you have other tools for that, it's okay, just use it, use for what is comfortable for you. I just need only scissors. And if you like different accessories, I just launched my first needle minders, and this is how it looks. It's Queen Bee, inspired by my one of my embroidery designs, and this needle minder is really good. You know that when you are stitching, it's better to not lose your needles, and don't put it into your couch or into your pants or wherever where you usually put your needles. It's better to have a needle minder or maybe some pin cushion like this, so your needles are always on place and you are not losing your needle, because it's dangerous. Okay, let me show you how I usually transfer the pattern to the fabric. So my favorite way of pattern transferring is I use this light pad, and it's a really great way to transfer the patterns to the fabric, but not all the fabrics. I will explain it later. So basically you just turn it on. It has 3 levels of light, and light is going through the paper, and then you put your fabric on the top and you can see all the pattern lines, and you can transfer it to your fabric. and for that I use a Pilot Friction heating erasable gel pen like this, and it has a sharp point and I can make a sharp line with this pen, and I like it also because I don't need to wash my embroidery once it's done. All I need to remove the pattern marks, all I need is to iron in my fabric from the back side and all the lines will disappear. You can also remove those marks with warm air from your hair dryer. It also works fine. So this is the best way for me to transfer the patterns to the fabric, but not every fabric is good for this method. For example, if you have a dark linen fabric like this, you may not be able to see through this fabric. For dark fabrics, I recommend to try stick and stitch stabilizer. And you can print onto this stabilizer. This is how it looks. It consists of two pieces. It's a stabilizer and it's like kind of paper. So you can print onto it using your printer. And then when it's printed, you can separate the layers and put the stabilizer, it's sticky, and put the stabilizer onto your fabric. It will stick to your fabric and you will be able to stitch through the both layers. It's also a good way to transfer the patterns. You will not need to do any hand drawing. You can print on it, or you can use a light pad to see through the paper and the stabilizer and trace the design with your hand. It's also an option. The only one disadvantage of this stabilizer is that sometimes when the humidity is high and the temperature in your room is high, it can melt and your needle can become sticky and it can be not really comfortable to work with. Also, some lamps that you use, it can heat a little bit your fabric, so it can melt a little bit. So it was just my experience, but if you like this method and you are good with this, it's okay. It's also a great way to transfer the patterns without any hand drawing. And this stabilizer, it can be washed away after you're done. And for linen fabric, which is not really dark like this, it's light gray, I would transfer my pattern to this fabric using iron-on transfer pen. It's also hard to see through this linen because the fabric is hard, so I would use iron-on transfer pen for that. All you need is to print the design onto the paper. You can flip the image before printing and you need to go over all the lines like this. This is how it draws. It can also make sharp lines. When you flip it before, the image before printing, you can draw directly on this side of the paper. If you didn't flip the pattern, you can flip it after printing, and maybe using your window or maybe using the light pad, you can see through the design and go over the lines from the pattern. And then once you finished drawing, you can put the fabric, put the pattern face down with the side where you were drawing the design, and then you can just you can iron for about 10 seconds. You can use the iron for the cotton in this case, and then the design should be traced onto your fabric. But you need to remember that this ink is permanent, so you will not be able to remove the pattern from the fabric. You will need to stitch over all the lines, so they are going to be hidden under your stitches. So just the one thing to remember about that. You can trace multiple times, so with the same drawing with this pen, which is good. I already used it for my embroidery kits, so I was tracing the same pattern about 4 or 5 times, and then I needed to draw it again, and then I got 4 or 5 more embroidery designs on the fabric. So that was comfortable for me, and it may be comfortable for you as well. So that's it. I can't wait to start stitching this embroidery design with you. So if you want to stitch it with me, check the link in the video description and join my stitch along, and we will stitch it together. I will start making live streams from Tuesday to Friday next week. I will go live every day in the same time, and we will be stitch a part of this embroidery design together. I think I will start from the leaves and little flowers, and then I will do the flower buds, and then we will switch to the flowers. We will make this flower from the side. This is how it's gonna look like this. And then we will switch to the bigger flower, this one, and I will show you how to make a big flower with this kind of embroidery stitch. It's a cast-on embroidery stitch, and this is a small flower, but I will show you how to make those flowers bigger, like this one, and then we will make even bigger flower like this one. So if you want to learn this and practice with me, download the pattern, prepare your materials, and transfer your pattern to the fabric on the weekends, and we will start stitching on Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions regarding the materials and stuff, or pattern transferring, just ask me in the comments below. Give this video a like, subscribe if you are not subscribed yet, and I will see you next week. Bye guys!